Happy Tuesday. I was just at school this morning handing out some more computers, and I saw that there's being work done on our playground. They're replacing all the wood chips with a nice foam rubber bottom, so when you land, you're not landing in wood chips anymore. And as I was walking around school, I realized how much I miss school, and I miss all of you guys and the teachers and everyone. But it reminded me of a book about a principal who loves his school and his teachers and his students just as much as I do. So I'm going to read you that book today. It's called A Fine, Fine School by Sharon Creech. Mr. Keene was a principal who loved his school. Every morning he strolled down the hallway and saw the children in their classes. He saw them learning shapes and colors and numbers. He saw them reading, writing, drawing, and painting. He saw them making dinosaurs and forts and pyramids. Oh, he would say, aren't these fine children? Aren't these fine teachers? Isn't this a fine, fine school? Near Mr. Keene's school, Tilly lived with her parents, her brother, and her dog Beans in a small house next to a big tree. Throughout this book, I want you to pay close attention to the dog. He's my favorite character. Look at, he's the catcher. On Mondays and Tuesdays and Wednesdays and Thursdays and Fridays, Tilly went off to school. Riding the bus, like some of you ride the bus to school. At school, Tilly learned her shapes and her colors and her numbers and letters, and sometimes when she saw Mr. Keene standing in the hallway, he waved at her. Aren't these fine children, he said to himself. Aren't these fine teachers? Isn't this a fine, fine school? I feel the same way as Mr. Keene when I walk through Cypress. On the weekends, Saturday and Sunday, Tilly climbed her favorite tree. And she took Beans on walks and threw him sticks. And she pushed her brother on a swing and tried to teach him to skip. But on Mondays and Tuesdays and Wednesdays and Thursdays and Fridays, Tilly went off to school. Beans and her brother, they didn't like to see her go. Hurry, 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 hurry home, her brother called. Look at my favorite dog. He's having himself some coffee. One day, Mr. Keene called the students and teachers together and said, "This is such a fine, fine school. I love this school. Let's have more school. From now on, let's have school on Saturdays too." The teachers and the students, they didn't want to go to school on Saturdays, but no one knew how to tell Mr. Keene that. He was so proud of the children and the teachers and the learning that they were doing every day. And so, that Saturday, Tilly set off for school. "But it's Saturday. What about the swings?" her brother called. Jail the dog. What's he doing? He's mowing the lawn. The following month, Mr. Keene announced, "This is such a fine, fine school. I love this school. Let's have more school. From now on, let's have school on Sundays too." The teachers and the students, they didn't want to go to school on Sunday. But no one knew how to tell Mr. Keene that. He was so proud of the children and the teachers and all of the learning that they were doing every day. And so that Sunday, Tilly set off for school. "But it's Sunday. What about the skipping?" her brother called. Look at Beans. He's reading his Sunday paper and having Sunday coffee. The following month, Mr. Keene called everyone together again and said, "Oh no, This is such a fine, fine school. I love this school. Let's have more school from now on. Let's have school on holidays too. On Easter and Ramadan and Thanksgiving and Christmas and Hanukkah and Kwanzaa and all of the holidays on every calendar. Ooh. The teachers and the students, they didn't want to go to school on holidays, but no one knew how to tell Mr. Keene that. He was so proud of the children and the teachers and all of the learning they were doing every day. And so, oh no, on Christmas, Tilly set off for school. But it's Christmas. What about Christmas? Her brother called. Bean's trying to give her a present, but Tilly has to go to school on Christmas. Oh no. The following month, Mr. Keene called everyone together and said, "This is such a fine, fine school. I love this school. Let's have more school. From now on, let's have school in the summer too. All summer long, every single day." I think Mr. Keene has gone crazy. How much we will learn, he said. We can learn everything. We will learn about numbers and letters and colors, shapes, Romans and Egyptians and Greeks. We will learn about dinosaurs and castles and everything. We will learn everything. The teachers and the students did not want to go to school on Saturdays and Sundays and holidays and all summer long and on every single day. But no one knew how to tell Mr. Keene that. He was so proud of the children and the teachers and the learning they were doing every day. Look at these illustrations. Look at the kids and their faces. Look at that one as someone passed out and they're crying. I love these illustrations. And so on the first day of summer, Tilly set off for school. But it's summer. What about summer? Her brother called. Look at Beans. Beans is the lifeguard. And that day, Tilly decided to go see Mr. Keene. She stood in his office by his desk. "What a fine, fine school this is," Mr. Keene said. "What amazing things everyone is learning." "Yeah," Tilly said, "we certainly are learning some amazing things." "A fine school," Mr. Keene said. "But," Tilly said, "not everyone is learning." "What?" Mr. Keene said. He looked very worried. Who isn't learning? Tell me, and I will see that they learn." "My dog Beans hasn't learned how to sit," Tilly said. "And he hasn't learned how to jump over the creek." "Oh," Mr. Keene said. "And my little brother hasn't learned how to swing or skip." Mr. Keene said. "And I," she said. "Oh, wait, but you go to school," Mr. Keene said. "To our fine, fine school." "True," Tilly said, "but I haven't learned how to climb very high in a tree, and I haven't learned how to sit there for a whole hour." "Oh," Mr. Keene said. That day, Mr. Keene walked up and down the halls, looking at the children and the teachers. Up and down he walked. Up and down he walked. Look at these illustrations. You can see that they have Post-it notes from their family that says, "We miss you," and look at all the books they're carrying. Do the kids look happy? That one kid's brushing his teeth at school. The next morning, oh no. The next morning, Mr. Keene called everyone together again. The children and the teachers were so worried. Mr. Keene said, "This is such a fine school with fine, fine children, fine, fine teachers, but not everyone is learning. The children and the teachers were very, very worried. Mr. Keene said, "There are dogs who need to learn how to sit and how to jump creeks." What did he mean? Was he going to make our dogs come to school too? There are little brothers and sisters who need to learn how to swing and how to skip. Oh no, what did he mean? Was he going to make their younger brothers and sisters come to school too? The children and the teachers were very, very, very worried. And you, all of you, children and teachers, you need to learn how to climb a tree and sit in it for an hour, Mr. Keene said. Oh, the children and teachers were so worried. And so, from now on, we will... Ooh, look at their faces. They're like, not again. No more school. Not have school on Saturdays or Sundays or holidays or in the summer. A huge, enormous, roaring cheer soared up to the ceiling and floated out the windows so that everyone in the town heard the fine, fine children and the fine, fine teachers shout, "Fine, fine, fine." They're so happy now. And the fine, fine children with the fine, fine teachers lifted up Mr. Keene. They carried him down the hall, out the doors, and through the town, up and down, in and out. And everywhere they went, the people said, "What a fine, fine school, with such fine, fine teachers and fine, fine children, and a fine, fine principal." This is one of my favorite books. I usually read it and kids are like, "No, not more school. We gotta have our weekends." But I know a lot of you are missing school right now, just like your teachers are and just like I am. But we'll see each other again soon, I promise. In the meantime, please keep reading. I will see you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.